Hi, everybody. Welcome to Serenity Cards and Coaching. My name is Lela Meinke. You can find me at lelameinke.com. And I'm super excited to share today's class. This is a free Zoom and then YouTube video for everyone. And I'm going to be using Stampin' Up's Soft Pastels. So I'm doing a live in color technique series where I'm showing how to do different coloring techniques. And this week I'm going to show you 5 different ways to use our soft pastels, sometimes known as chalks, but we call them soft pastels. So I'm going to show you 5 different ways to use those. And let me go ahead and show you the different cards we're going to focus on. Again, Lela at Serenity Cards and Coaching. And in order, we're going to make this guy. And then we're going to make this guy. And then a little bit of tie-dye fun. And then Cindy, this was the back fold technique we were talking about the other day. So we're going to have a little bit of a fold technique along with Q-tips to color these guys. And then here is, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And then here's card number 5. We're going to make the one in flamingo today, but I kind of made one in all the different colors. Now this class today is intended for anybody who wants to just come and join and learn. I also sell a kit that has the ingredients for all these cards. And so if you get the kit, you will get any one of these colors. And so the PDF will have photos for all the different, so you can have ideas for how to color them. But we're going to color this guy today when we get to that. And each different one is shows a little different technique. So we will start with this first one. Now the Live in Color series, I've been using 2 different major stamp sets. This has a few others that I'm featuring as well. But I've been focusing on the Layering Leaves stamp set and punch. And I've also been featuring the Bird's Eye View. And you guys, you might see a little bit of water. I just spilled a big glass of water. I got it cleaned up, but I'm finding little remnants of it everywhere. So that's okay. It felt so good, actually. It's so hot here. But Bird's Eye View and Layering Leaves. Those are the stamps we've been using for the past 4 months for all our different techniques. And so we're going to wrap it up today with these 2 guys using the pastels. Although, as I go into the next techniques and I start to feature new stamp sets, I'm probably going to give samples with those as well. But we're going to go ahead and get started, and we are going to do, I'm going to get a new piece of paper that's not wet. Oh my goodness. I got to tell you, it felt so good. I'm here in California, and I don't know how hot it is, but it is hot outside. So kind of felt good. But we are going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how to make this card. So this is the Layering Leaves. I actually love this design. I've done this design a few different ways, and this final way we're going to do it in pastel. And I'm going to use Versamark ink. So we're using a few different inks today. This particular one, we're using Versamark ink, and we're using this stamp set from Layering Leaves that's very, very solid. So, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use my Versamark ink, and I'm going to stamp all along the bottom of this piece of cardstock. I even got water on the stamps, you guys. So, oh my goodness. I hope, yeah. All right, I'm gonna just have to take a minute and clean house a little bit. So I did it good. It was a big full glass of ice water. So, all right, let's see if that's gonna be good. And you know what? I'm using a paper pumpkin block because I have all my other blocks kind of in use right now. So it's super handy when you subscribe to our paper pumpkin or you've got our kits, you get extra blocks. But you'll notice it's not as thick. It's not the same thickness and quality as our other blocks. So what I did was I stamped Versamark, and I don't know if you can tell, you probably can't at all, but I just put the leaves in Versamark all along the bottom. Now I'm going to get to my pastel collection here. Now this is a messy, messy, messy thing. So there are some people who are like, no way, I'm not doing it. I don't like messy. I'm not doing it. I actually love messy. So count me in. So we're going to do a few different things here. We're going to go, now you can see it's like a rainbow. So there's like yellow, Daffodil Delight, and then green is Granny Apple Green, and then the blue is Coastal Cabana. And I love that our colors all match our colors. So you're going to see that I've used these different colored cardstocks today, but I'm doing it like I would decorate a rainbow. So I'm just going right over the ink right there. So First I did it with the daffodil, and now I'm going to come in and I'm going to do it a little bit with the Granny Apple Green. You can start to see the leaf taking shape. Now I'm going to come in with the Coastal Cabana, and I'm rubbing the side on the paper itself. And then I'm going to come back in. I'm just going to keep kind of doing it like a rainbow. Now, color mixing rules apply. So if I were to mix red and green, can anybody tell me what I would get if I were to mix red and green? They're opposites on a color wheel. So if you mix opposites on a color wheel, like yellow and purple are opposite, red and green, you're going to get a brown. So I really, when I do this, I try to do colors that match, because that aren't going to turn into a brown, unless I want to do a brown on purpose, which I don't. So I've done my colors here. It looks a little messy. I put a little yellow line across the top, and now I'm just going to use my fingers. And I'm going to keep wiping off. And I wanted the yellow across the top just to kind of give it a little bit of room. And I'm going to keep wiping along the bottom. So isn't this cool? I think it's cool. I thought it's like kind of magical, actually. The color just kind of renders right in front of your eyes. So I'm just making my way all the way across. Go a little bit there. Now, I did this pretty quickly, the stamping pretty quickly. When I did this, I had taken a little more time, and it was right under me and I could see what I was doing. So I precisely kind of lined up 5. I might have put a different one in here, but that gives you the idea. And then what I did was I took a ribbon and wrapped it all the way around the center so that you saw the leaves below, and you're not really seeing kind of that uneven layer right there, but you see a nice bow kind of tying it together. And I stamped the sending hugs in the upper right corner. So let me go ahead and wipe up my hands a little bit. And what do you guys think? Does anybody want to come off mute and ooh and ah? Or does it look messy, Bessie? What do you think?
I love it. I really like it a lot.
Very pretty. I like it.
Awesome. Awesome.
Mom and I are going to make one right now.
Are you gonna? Awesome. Yeah. And you know what? So this is the latest pack of pastels that just came out this year, and it includes the Flirty Flamingo. If you have last year's pastels, it's got, like, I think all the same colors. It had 2 yellows. So if you have last year, you can do most of what we're doing today. You just wouldn't be able to do the flamingo. But Stampin' Up's been selling pastels for years. So I know that if you've got kind of that old, it looked like a makeup palette or like an artist palette, if you've got that, exact same technique. You might need to use maybe a Q-tip or something, or you could use your finger because it was a different form factor. But or you could pick up, it was like a little square patty. You could pick it up and rub right against it. But anyway, that's what you've got. So in the interest of time, I'm not going to go ahead, but I would wrap the ribbon around and I would tie a bow. I would stamp the sentiment there. I adhered it to the front. And then I just put a couple of these epoxy gems, which I love. Glossy gems, that's the name of them, glossy gems. So I put those on, and there we have it. So that was technique number 1. We stamped in Versamark, and then we rubbed on it with chalk. We used our fingers, and we really brought that to life. So Peggy, I guess I'll ask you, not to pick on you, and I don't know if you know how to take yourself off mute. I don't even know if you're sitting right there, but is that enough information? Because you're going to get this kit. Is that enough information for you to be able to go ahead and recreate that? Maybe she's not right there. Okay, that's fine. All right, I'm going to clean my little surface off. And
You weren't saying anything to me, were you? I'm sorry. I'm
No.
dealing with Bessie
I
right now.
wasn't. Peggy, oh, Peggy's just sitting down now. Peggy, not to put you on the spot, but you're going to be doing this, guys. So did that help you understand? You use Versamark, you stamp,
Yes,
and then
yes, yes.
perfect. Awesome.
And I like the technique. I mean,
Awesome.
I look fun.
It is fun. Oh my goodness, it's fun. All right, this one, we're going to do a similar approach with the rubbing of the chalk on the surface, but we're not going to use Versamark and we're not going to use our fingers. And then I'm going to show you how you can set this so that it doesn't rub off. So when I give you guys a kit, when I provide, if you sign up for a kit and I provide the kit to you, you get all the ingredients. So you're going to get the butterfly gem, the ribbon, you're going to get the card base, the designer series paper, and you're going to get this embossed leaf, and then you get an inside piece as well. So this is what the kit would look like. You would get an inside piece, you would get the front, which kind of has a mix of all the colors, and then you would get this guy. Now I can tell you the trick for putting this through the embossing folder. This is I don't remember the name of it, but it's a leaf embossing folder that we have. It doesn't cover the whole surface, it only covers part of a surface. So the way I was able to get it to cover the whole diagonal, which I really wanted that look, I cut it down to a little smaller size. I cut it down to 3.5 by 5, 3.5 by 4 3/4. And if you get the PDF, you get the PDF free if you're on my team, you get the PDF if you get the kit, or I sell just the PDF. If you get the PDF, you'll see the measurements, you'll see like close-ups of everything. But this fit inside the embossing folder just perfectly. So the embossing folder was maybe this big, and it fit like right on the diagonal, nothing poked out. So you could put it straight through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine without any little parts sticking out. And then you got the whole diagonal. And I really wanted that look. I liked a diagonal look. Diagonal, by the way, implies motion. And isn't that what we want with leaves? These leaves are falling leaves, so we want to imply motion. So now, where did I just put that sample? Because I want to follow along with it. Again, I'm following, if I were to put red and green together, we wouldn't get that nice little combination right there. If I were to put red and green together, we'd get brown. That's actually okay. Brown leaves are fine. But if I put green and yellow together, I'm going to get a nice little mix. If I use red and yellow together, I'm going to get a little orange. Like that's really the basics of the color wheel. When I mix colors, I get a new color. Red and yellow make orange. Green and yellow make kind of a lime green. So we're going to do the same thing. So I'm going to start with the yellow in the middle. I do want to make sure my stick is clean. Sometimes I get a little messy Bessie, so I want to make sure I don't have any other colors on it. And I'm going to go across, but I really just want to go across the surface. So I don't want to get it all, like this is just on the surface. I don't really, it's okay. I've got a few little marks. It's perfectly fine. It's art. But I don't want to get all the way onto the paper itself. So I'm doing the yellow across a good kind of third of the pie right there. And that's that. That would be Daffodil Delight. I think that this red is probably Poppy Parade. I'm putting the red at the bottom. I was playing with different positions of the paper and the colors and different placements. And I like just a little hint of red at the bottom. It's a little bit heavier. So I have the red at the bottom and I've got the red bow there. And then it just looks kind of continuous everywhere. So I'm going to follow that same principle here. I'm just going to put a little bit of red on the bottom and I'm just kind of wiping it across where last time I pressed harder. This time I'm just doing a light touch across, skimming across the top. And then I'm going to come in with my Coastal Cabana And I'm just going to do this top section right here. And in this case, I am going to go over the yellow because I kind of I like it being yellow. I like the yellow green, and then I like the Coastal Cabana. So I'm just coming across the top. And again, I don't care if I get a little bit on the paper. I'm not going to come in and try to pick that up because if I do anything like that, it's going to smudge. But now I'm going to use something, and I haven't really thought about how to use it on camera. I'm going to show you what it is, and then you're going to partially see it. But I'm going to set my pastels, and I'm going to do that with a workable fixative. I can tell you what this is. It protects pencil, pastel, and chalk drawings. It prevents smudging and wrinkling. And so if you're going to want to send this through the mail, which of course we do, put it in an envelope, it's going to help set it. Now, dare I even do it? I used fixative on this. I used an old can. Oh my goodness, it was probably 30 years old. I've since replaced it, but let's see if it's going to smudge. It's not smudging. It's fixed. I mean, I did it about a month ago, but all right. So very good. So now I'm just going to spray. You usually want to do this in a nice ventilated area. So I'm going to do it here. I'm shaking really well. I'm going to protect this area here because I just want to fix this up here. I'm actually going to come back in. This is a different stamp set. I've stamped in Peacock, and that's that Be Gentle With Yourself stamp set that I love so much. So I just thought that was just a really nice touch right there. So I'm going to go ahead and protect with a scrap piece of, oh, I know. I'm going to protect with an old bingo board. And I'm going to be far enough away. Let me practice. I haven't used this can yet, so maybe I have to undo it or something. I don't know. No. All right. I'm not going to do it. But I would be, I want to say like a foot away, and I'm just going to do like a whoosh kind of over it, and that's it. So it's better to do this kind of thing outside anyway, so I'm not going to do that here. It smells really strong. You want to do it in a well-ventilated area, but you're just going to do a whoosh over it, protect kind of the other part of it. And when I first looked at it, it looked like it had a little bit of spotting from the can, but then it dried and it went away, and it's perfectly fine. So and it sharpens the color a little bit, it deepens it, it makes it a little bit darker, but it absolutely protects it when it goes through the mail. So so that is another technique where you can fix it with a fixative, and you can do it on an embossing folder. So there's that guy. Alrighty, that was card number 2. Now we're gonna go to card number 3. I love this card. So this card, let's see, we've got Daffodil Delight. So that was the one chalk that we saw. You're gonna get a piece of liner for the inside because I always like to line the insides. This is the guy we're gonna work on. So we're gonna go ahead and use this spiral die stamp set, spiral stamp set. And then Peggy, I think you have this stamp set. This is Good Messages or Good Feelings.
Yeah.
This is Good Feelings. I know I got water everywhere. So this is Good Feelings, and they're pretty large. Pretty much it's just about the sentiment. So this is a great application of using just the sentiment. So we're going to use the spiral stamp, and who knows, can anybody guess which technique we're going to use to get that pastel on there? We've already seen it today. Can anybody guess what we're going to do?
Are you going to put it on the embossing folder?
Oh, we're not. So we're going to do the other one. We're going to do the Versamark, but that was a good guess. We're going to do, so this is our spiral die, and I think this guy is low inventory right now. So if you love this guy, you're going to want to get in line to get it. But I'm using Versamark, and I'm using Versamark all over it. Now, many times I tell you, don't smush the ink. Like many times I'll tell you, just touch the surface. When I'm using Versamark, I do smush the ink. I just want it good and everywhere. And so there's no problem with that. So I've got my Versamark and I've got my piece of cardstock. The great thing is this guy's bigger. I could do this one of two ways. I think I'll do it the easier way, actually. I was going to stand up and put the stamp down and then give it a good press. You don't want to move it. You could give it a really good press, but I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to do it face up, where I'm going to put that there. And then I want to use a piece of paper. Do I have one? Oh yeah, I'll use my bingo boards again. I want to use a piece of paper that I'm, these are old bingo boards. So they're not the new ones for the new bingo coming up. So I'm using an old bingo board and I'm just kind of burnishing it. So when we press it like that, that's called a burnish. I'm making sure it doesn't move, but I really want to get my, I want to get my Versamark pattern everywhere. And I tried to do it so that the spiral goes in the center, but it's going to be covered up anyway, so it's okay. So we're going to do the same Versamark technique that we did on the other. I'm going to take it off. You can see the spiral die pattern right there. I love this stamp set. I love, love, love it. So now I'm going to follow along. I did many attempts with this guy. I tried doing all the colors because we've got this whole palette. I've tried all the different things and I ended up well, I have two different versions. Do I have the other one here? I don't. So we'll do this one. Oh, I do. Let's do this guy. So I ended up with just 3 colors anyway. So here I have Daffodil, I have Granny, and I have Coastal. We already did that combination. So here I've got Daffodil, I've got Flamingo, and I've got Poppy. I tried doing like 4, 5, 6 different colors. It just looks super muddy. So so even though I had like, you know, appropriate colors next to each other, it just looked too muddy. So I'm just gonna go in a circle. Oh my God, it's so fun, you guys. It just is. It just is. It's messy, but it's fun. I'm gonna allow it to go over each other. I'm just going all the way around. Now these colors work well together. I could put the red next to the yellow. I could put the red next to the flamingo. I could mix and match. It's just fine. But I'm just gonna do like this. So now I've got it all colored. That feels like it's a little too much for me. So I'm going to come back in with some yellow, but see, that's what I mean. You want to clean that off. You do not want to have that happening. So I'm cleaning that off for the future so that I don't have that, because I am one who's really hard on my supplies. You may play differently, although I'm telling you, pastels, it's not a way to be neat with them. So now I'm just going to come in. Now I am using different fingers. So if I were to so it's fine if I were to take my yellow finger and go over here, I would probably still retain this. But let's say I started coloring in with red. If I came back over to the yellow, that would transfer. So I am using different fingers as I go across. And then I'm just kind of getting it all rubbed in. And I might sometimes come back in with maybe a yellow finger and just kind of rub all over again if I want to make it like a little more continuous, but I don't. I'm actually really fine. I love it, actually. So there we go. So tips when you do this guy, you want Versamark for sure. And then you want to make sure it's really, really good and burnished. And then I would only do 3 colors, and I would do 3 colors that you know go well together. I probably wouldn't do the red and purple unless you maybe put the blue in. Like you could try red, blue, and purple. You're at risk of getting a little bit muddy if you do that. But I mean, I think I did 5 or 6 different ones until I ended up with the ones I liked. And then I ended up with 2 that I liked, so I kept those. So if you have extra paper at home, just feel free to use your extra paper at home and play. Just play, you guys. It's just paper. It's so fun. And then like maybe you like just this little piece right here. Well, then you could die cut it. Or I haven't done fixative over the Versamark, but you could play with that too. You could, fix it and then roll it through and do a die cut out of that. So just play. But anyway, that was all I did. And then I put the ribbon around this base before I adhered it. And then I adhered it. Again, I like the darker colors kind of towards the bottom so that just the heaviness goes towards the bottom. And then I stamped the sentiment and I put a couple yellow gems. From me in the kit, I didn't have enough to give you all this ribbon. I didn't have enough to give you all this ribbon. So you're either going to get this combination or you're going to get this combination or maybe even a different combination. But it'll definitely match all that's there. So, and then you stamp your sentiment and you've got your card. So super fun.
Another big stamp, really cute, Janet. We're gonna make that one too, but we don't have that tie-dye stamp. But another one you could use is the sunshine one.
Oh my gosh, yes. Oh my gosh, that would be awesome. And you could do it in the yellow. You could do like ocean at the bottom and sunshine at the top, grass at the bottom, sunshine. I mean, you could really have fun with that. Yeah, we've got quite a few background stamps. That sounds awesome. That's I will show and tell. Put it out on Facebook if you do it. I want to see.
I have a question, Leela.
Yeah.
When you're using the Versamark, that method, would you use the fixative on that one, or do you not find it necessary?
I mean, I haven't found it necessary. The reason I said do the fixative is if I'm going to take this piece and roll it through a die cut machine, then all of a sudden it's starting to have a little more activity. I would just send that just like that. I think it's fine. But you could try it. I haven't tried it. I haven't tried fixative with Versamark. So
with Versamark. Okay. Thank you.
It's a large enough can that we could certainly try it. Yeah. And I'll get you the name of that. I like Krylon brand, workable fixative, and it's 1306, and it just flat out protects pencil, pastel, and chalk. So, alrighty. So now I've cleaned house a little bit. Any other questions before I go on to the next?
Is that like an acrylic sealer?
Yes.
Would that work?
I would try an acrylic sealer. I would try acrylic. Yeah.
All right. I have super gloss finish, so.
Well, then you know what that's going to mean. It's going to be glossy.
It's going to make it shiny. Yep.
Going to make it shiny, but that's a fun technique too. So awesome. Alrighty. Oh, I can't wait to see. Maybe next month's customer challenge should be working with pastels. Maybe. Alrighty. Now this is a fold. It's possible I learned this fold from Cindy. I don't remember. Somebody brought it up at our last team meeting, I believe. But this is a back fold, only it's kind of over the front. And so anyway, I love this fold. And so thank you, Cindy, and everybody who brings ideas to the team. And so then I did kind of a fun thing. I decorated the front, and then I opened it up and I kind of stamped the same thing on the inside. And then I stamped and colored the inside again. So I love interactive cards. I love cards that you kind of interact and you play with and you touch and you feel and you experience. And I thought the best is yet to come with sending love during this season of growth was just a sweet message to send. So I'm going to show you this technique. This technique requires a Q-tip. So one thing that I do when I put my technique classes together, well, all my classes, I love, love, love to go see what else is out there. I just love to study. So I watched a bunch of videos on pastels and somebody used a Q-tip technique. So we're getting a flavor of that. So for this guy, I'm just going to show you the one, but you would do the same thing on the inside as well. You would stamp and Q-tip on the inside. You've got the layers that you can adhere. This paper was the space paper, but I thought that the green kind of fit. So we're going to go ahead. This right here is watercolor paper. And that is our Fluid 100 watercolor paper. And this is Orchid. I love this color. So, and then the stamp set is different. Oh, you guys, I've made a mess. I made a mess of it. I just do. Look how waterlogged it is. Anyway, this is the Dainty Delight stamp set, and we're going to use the Best Is Yet to Come, Sending Love This Season, and we're going to use, I don't know, one of these guys. I think we're going to use that guy. So that's our Dainty Delight. You just got to laugh. I'm a messy Bessie. Alrighty, so I've got my stamp set and I've got my sentiment. And in this case, because it does involve, let's see, what did I do? I used a Q-tip, and then I think, oh my goodness. And then I used for sure the Wink of Stella. I think I used the blending pen. So sorry about that I didn't re-study that before I got here. But anyway, we're going to use Stays On. I know I used that because I think I used the blending pen. So I'm going to go ahead and ink up my sentiment, and I'm going to stamp that right there. I'm going to ink up my flower and stamp it right there. I just replenished my Stays On. Stays On definitely needs replenishing, so I just replenished it so it's nice and inky. It's a good idea when you get ink pads to always buy the refill anyway. It's a good idea to do that because you know, you want to be able to extend the life of your ink pad and need to refill it. And with Stays On, for sure, you need to refill it. So I'm going to let this dry a little bit. I actually have a heat gun right here, so I'm going to take it and dry it a little bit because I just want to make sure that it's heat set. So hold one sec. That's probably good. If I were alone, I would have just let it dry for a little bit, but we don't want to sit here and watch paint dry. All right, so I've got my Q-tip, and I'm going to start with Granny Apple Green, and I'm going to do the stem. You know, I think I just used the Q-tip. I'm just using the Granny Apple Green on the stem, and I'm going to go ahead and blow that away, and that's good. And now I'm going to use, give me 1 second to do a trial. I'm pretty sure it was this blue, but let me just double check that. And I'm going to check it on the back. Oh yeah, oh my gosh, it's so pretty. Okay, so for sure this is the part that I remember from the video. She took it and she just kind of did it like a starburst coming from the middle. So she just kind of did it like a starburst like that. And then I'm blowing away the extra powder because I don't want it to set. So I'm just coming in and I'm coming to the base of the flower, and I'm like, let me show you on here in an exaggerated manner. I'm doing this kind of motion. I'm doing it a lot, not as large, but I'm at the base and I'm just pulling out so it's got like some movement to it and some excitement to it, but I'm doing it at a much smaller scale. So I'm going to keep just kind of pulling out. Now, when she did it, she had like, you know, this would have looked good. I think I don't have them, but the new, they're on pre-order. The water, not the water, the firework ones, or they look like fireworks, or they're just the New Year's one. This would look good, like pulling those out with large strokes with the large colors. But I think it also looks good kind of on a small scale. So just take your Q-tip and you're just kind of flicking. So that's it. Now I came back in and I used my Wink of Stella, and that has a little bit of moisture to it. So I'm one who uses my Wink of Stella as a paintbrush also. So I came in and I just kind of followed up with the same thing I just kind of came from the center and I flicked outwards. And that's where I'm going to get kind of that dreamy look. Now my Wink of Stella has like it has the chalk inside of it. And I'm okay with that because I'll clean out my Wink of Stella. I'm one who can have 3 or 4 open at a time. And I make sure I clean my stuff before I put it on the next thing. But I really use my tools a lot. So, and I think this Wink of Stella was my addition. So she did this like pulling motion and that was awesome. And it was very rainbowy. But then I came in with the Wink of Stella after. So I'm just kind of pulling and I'm getting just like this dreamy kind of flower look to it. I'm going to come over here. It's a little heavier over here. So I'm just kind of pouncing around. I'm cleaning off my Wink of Stella. I'm not squeezing it. I'm making sure that I just have a little bit on the end of it. And I'm just kind of getting this dreamy look all the way around. So let me show you up close what that looks like. So there we go. It's just kind of got a little bit of a dreamy look. And then I added some rhinestones to it. And there we go.
Pretty.
Pretty.
So there you have it. I added my little purple bow. I like to do that to kind of pull all the colors together. And so it's just, it was easy peasy. It was just kind of flicking with a Q-tip and then kind of following up with your Wink of Stella. So we've seen a few different.
Yeah, beautiful.
Versamark, we've seen Q-tip, we've seen doing it on an embossing folder, and then this guy, I've got all the measurements in the handout, but I think it was like 7.5 by 5.5, and then you score it. You leave about an inch there, and then you score that in half, and then it's just kind of a sweet little fold, and I just stamped kind of the same thing on the inside. And then I did a much subtler job coloring on the inside. I didn't do it as exaggerated because really I want to be able to focus on writing a message on the inside. So that's that guy. Super fun. And it's fun to even just stamp on designer series paper and you just get a subtle little look right there. All right, so that was that guy. Now we have one more with pastels and we're going to make this guy. Sweet little birdie. And again, there's a few different color variations. And I will have photos of all of those. What I love about Stampin' Up! Is when you get a Coastal Cabana pastel and you get a Coastal Cabana designer series paper and you get a Coastal Cabana piece of cardstock, they all match. Like, you know, coastal is coastal is coastal is coastal is coastal. Daffodil is daffodil. Like, I love that. You just know that you're going to get that. And this, by the way, is the Brights family. We have color families. And so this is half of the colors in the Brights family. And so I love it when people like make cards and they show like all the different ways. It's just super fun. But we're going to make the flamingo one. So let me find the flamingo one. I had it right here. Well, girls, where did it go? Okay, so I've got it right here, and there's an interesting thing to share about it. Well, I don't have the flamingo. So one thing I want to show you is how to cut the, some things to watch out for when you cut the designer series paper. So I cut the designer series paper and I really cared how the pattern looked. So when I cut it, I wanted the corners to be equal. And I also wanted, like you can see, I've cut in the same space through the circles there and pretty much the same space through the circles there. So it would have looked really wonky if it was a cut that was kind of had circles kind of cut there and circles cut there. So it took a little bit of time to perfect it and get it just right. And I'm going to follow this pattern when you guys get the kit. But I just thought I would tell you, when you're going to do a card like this on the diagonal, if you're going to pick a pattern, like, look, so here's a great example. It would just it would mess with your eye not to have the cut like right on the line, right? And it would mess with your eye if one was like a really big cut and one was a really short. So the only thing I can tell you is it takes some time and some fussing with it. But of course, the way you cut it is you put it on your trimmer and you line it up and you cut it. And then I've kind of had that triangle and I took it over to the other corner and then I tried to cut the same size. So in the kit, you will get it cut exactly right. If you're going to do something like this fold, you really do want to pay attention to the size of the corner, and then also like so that your eye is focusing where you want it, which is on the bird and not on the designer series paper cut line. Well, I can't find it, so we're going to do a different one. I've got it right here. Actually, all I need to show you is the bird anyway. So I'm going to clean house a little bit. I'm going to move my pastels and my chalk and my paper because this is one where you always want to work on a clean surface. So I don't know if you know about our grid paper, but our grid paper is fantastic. And I'm actually using one that's a smaller pack. So our grid paper comes in very, very large packs. I don't know, maybe it's like 100 sheets. And then it comes in a smaller pack, which I'm going to guess is 25. I don't know. But, and these are in colors. And so it comes in a smaller pack. It's a little more portable. And depending how much stamping you do, maybe that's just the right size you need. But for sure, when I'm doing a technique like this, I definitely want to have it work from a new clean piece. So, so I am going to work on the flamingo one. And I'm just going to show you how I colored it. And this is very similar to a technique that we did last month. This is going to be using blender pens. And so we did working with blender pens last month. A blender pen, as a reminder, is this guy. And it's kind of the glycerin. It's got glycerin in it. And this guy's really loved. You can see I've used this guy a lot. But anyway, it's got glycerin in it. And you can use this with pastel. So this is the 5th thing that we're going to use with our pastel today. I really wanted to show you a variety of different ways that you could use it. I think my favorite might be the Versamark just because it's so, I don't know, it just really comes to life. But anyway, I've given you a nice enough piece of watercolor paper and you're cutting it out anyway. So I'm going to stamp my books first. I thought this was a great one for back to school time. So I'm going to stamp my book first, and then I'm going to stamp my bird on the book, standing on the book. And so I want to have his little feet right there so that they're kind of standing right in the middle of the book. And then I'll just give you a gotcha with these glasses. These glasses, you can see it right here. I'm gonna mute. Somebody's a little scratchy. If you guys could mute yourself if there's a little bit of scratchiness. So you can tell with the glasses here, I didn't clean the inside, so you can see that there's a little smudge. I let him be for purposes of the example, but today we're gonna not let that happen. So I've stamped it, and I'm not seeing that there's any remnant in a glass. That if there were, I could actually take a Q-tip, I could take my finger, I could just take something and go inside and make sure that I don't have anything so that I'm not getting that effect of ink transferring in the middle of where the glasses should be. So I'm going to go ahead and just line these up by his little eyeballs. Luckily, it's stamping pretty well. In a perfect world, I would be on a Stampin' Pierce mat because I'm using photopolymer, but it's doing pretty well on the watercolor paper. So I'm going to let it dry a little bit. Maybe I'll heat set it for a second. It should already be pretty dry, stays on dries really quickly. But I just don't want it to smear. And then I will tell you the only thing that I didn't use chalk with because it was so little is the nose. I just used our new markers, which I'm loving. So I took the tip of our new markers, which I love, 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 love. And I colored the little nose, just a little bit of pumpkin pie. But then I'll use pastel and blender pen for the rest of it. And so I'm making sure that my yellow is yellow, so that's good. And if I want to, I can do like a little test run and see. I didn't bring, last month I was using glycerin. Like I had like a little container of glycerin and water to kind of like help re-ink and the help reactivate the blender pen and help with the kind of blending. I don't have that here today. I've got faith in my blender pen that I don't have to reactivate it today. So I'm going to go through and color all the yellows first. I see that I missed a little bit on the book there. I don't care. Maybe I'll trim it off or something. I'll trim it carefully, but really I'm just trying to demonstrate how to color with pastels. So I'm just kind of, I guess with the flamingo, I wanted to mix daffodil and flamingo. And so I just kind of did every other, I just kind of followed patterns and did every other book spot. So there's kind of a little pattern there. So I got my yellow done. Now I'm going to come in with my flamingo. I always start with the lighter color first. And the very first thing I'm going to do is there's a shadow under the wing. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to give a shadow under the wing. I might even be so brave as to kind of give even a little more of a Poppy Parade shadow under the wing, just to give a little bit of shadow. And then there's also some kind of shading that Stampin' Up has shown us here. So I'll do a little bit of the poppy there, not a lot. Clean off my brush, and then I'll come in with the flamingo. And then what I'm going to do, because I want those to marry a little bit more, I'm going to clean this off and I'm going to come in with my yellow, and I'm just going to kind of blend so that it marries a little bit more. And then keep coloring my flamingo. This went really, really quickly. Last month when we did the blending technique, we showed you can do the sky really quickly, or you can be a little more involved. But for this, it's super impactful just to color it with a couple different colors. And then when it's got the designer series paper and everything else going on, it's just a quick little technique. Pastels are actually pretty quick and pretty impactful. So there we go. We've got that guy. I mean, if I wanted to finish out this book, do I have my black marker here? It's bugging me a little bit. I might just come in and take a marker and just kind of add a little bit of black there. So now you can't really tell. Love these markers. All right, so that's it. Then we cut them out and we cut them out, and then we stamp the for you on the little scallop, and the piece of paper will already be cut for you. Now I've done it two ways. I've done it with the for you above, and I've done it with the for you below. Which one do you guys like better? Actually, I really am very curious. Do you like it with the words above, or do you like it with the words below?
Above.
Above.
Above. All righty. All right. All right, so there you go. This guy, you can see I blended. I did a little more of combining colors there, so had a little bit more fun there. So there you go. You guys, that takes us through our 5 cards. So we did this guy, and we did this guy.
Good moving along, huh?
Yeah, we did 5 cards. We did. I mean, I don't take the time to do all the things you guys know how to glue, you know how to put gems on. And if not, I can do that in another. I'm not going to be presumptuous. But when you take a technique class, I really just wanted to focus on, oh my gosh, sorry about that. Wanted to focus on how to do the technique. So there you go. There you are, ladies. I'm going to go off of recording and then just come back and visit with you guys for a minute. So let me stop the recording.